If you're a people pleaser and get anxious in social environments, this short video explains how you can use archetypes to transform your life. Hey guys, welcome back to another mastermind content video discussing how you can use archetypes to transform your life and become the best version of yourself. In the previous video, part 1, I explained that archetypes are identifiable patterns of thoughts, actions and emotions that influence how you experience life. So in this video, I'm going to give you an example of how you can use the Mastermind Content Archetypes tool to identify an archetype, determine how it's causing a problem in your life, and how to develop it. Now, each of the archetypes serves a function and helps you to navigate the world. So you have different archetypes which are parts of your personality dealing with different stuff. So for example, the everyman is amiable, agreeable, accommodating and cooperative. These qualities are great and can help you to make connections and develop friendships. Another example is the ruler, who is the decision maker and decides what your next move will be. It's equivalent to the neocortex in the brain. Then we have the hero, who motivates you to take the action that the ruler has decided on and gives you the courage to confront a challenge. However, if the hero is undeveloped, then you don't have the courage to confront challenges and you don't give yourself that opportunity for growth. The undeveloped everyman becomes a people pleaser because you are afraid nobody likes you, and the undeveloped ruler makes poor decisions in one way or another, or it gets hijacked by the warrior and the philanthropist, which are misdirected passions, the warrior, and overcome by emotions, the philanthropist. So if you notice your response to a particular situation is immature or childish, you can say that an archetype is undeveloped. You can then assess which archetypal qualities might have been more appropriate and need integrating into the conscious personality. So you can also determine how well developed or undeveloped an archetype is by observing which qualities come up for you most often. And if you look in the Mastermind Content Archetypes tool, you will see 2 columns, one marked developed and one marked undeveloped. If you recognise that most of the traits from the undeveloped column appear more often, then that's indicative of an emotional wound. An emotional wound is essentially part of your personality that has been repressed, which can easily happen in childhood. But when a child is made to feel bad, unacceptable and unworthy, or unloved or unsafe, you adopt coping strategies, learned behaviours that make you appear good, accepted, loved and safe. Now, these parts of your personality are given expression, whilst the other parts of your personality are repressed. They're pushed down into the unconscious and ignored. And because they are ignored, they don't have the opportunity to develop. They don't have the opportunity to mature. They remain in a childlike state. The great Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung noted this, and he said that repressed parts of the personality become a complex. In psychology, a complex is described as a group of ideas that are centered around a specific theme. Well, that's what archetypes are. Archetypes perform functions which are groups of ideas centered around a specific theme. So think of archetypes as parts of you that have the qualities to cope with certain aspects of your life. Now, some archetypes you will use more often at home, others at work, others in social environments. But sometimes you will use the same archetype at work as you use at home or in social situations. It all depends on the situation that you're experiencing in the external world at any given time. So to give you an example, you may need to use empathy at home, in the workplace and in social settings. So you need to understand how to be empathetic. You need that information to be accessed by the conscious mind. So if you don't have empathy, then you're not going to turn up as the best version of yourself at home or at work or in social settings when you need to be empathetic. You'll also note that complexes emerge as childlike and irrational behaviours, and I believe we can all agree that as adults we do behave like children, and when we do that, we're not showing up as the best version of ourselves, rather, we're showing up, we are being shown up. So, complexes are childlike behaviours, and they illustrate that an archetype is undeveloped. So, if you think of it like this, a child has to transform into a mature adult, and a mature adult has to become a wise adult. And these are the three phases of energy transformation from from immature to mature to wisdom. So the mastermind content archetypes model explains which emotional wounds are related to each archetype. I've also designed an archetypes overview that explain what the potential causes are for the emotional wound to develop associated with a particular archetype. So, for example, the everyman's wound is abandonment and rejection. You were emotionally abandoned as a child, and subsequently you abandoned yourself because you were made to feel inadequate and unacceptable. So you then become a people-pleasing adult who wants everyone to like them by being agreeable, amiable, cooperative. Not bad traits, obviously, but unless you hang out with people that nourish your emotional well-being, then you're not going to be using these traits to your advantage. And that often happens to the undeveloped everyman because you're so desperate to fit into a group, you don't recognize your own likes and dislikes. So, for example, if you don't enjoy going to the places that your friends go, or your friends don't respect you, then your everyman archetype is undeveloped and you're neglecting your emotional well-being. So the development goal of the everyman is to accept yourself for who you are and then develop a sense of individuality. Decide what you like to do and what you don't like to do, and then set your boundaries and only do things that nourish your emotional well-being. And when I talk about nourishing your emotional well-being, it's releasing the neurotransmitters like serotonin, oxytocin and endorphins. So the everyman emerges when you learn to be friendly, adaptable and cooperative and accommodating for your teachers, parents and siblings in the initial stages, because you don't want them to think you are bad, unacceptable and unlovable, because these are basic human needs. So these learned behaviours become an habitual way of being as an adult. The problem is that they become a self-neglecting coping strategy you use to try and fit in, to get that sense of belonging. The real issue is that you're insecure and you have an underlying fear that you will be rejected and abandoned again, just as you were rejected and abandoned by your parents. So this is because a basic human need is to feel a sense of belonging, and the everyman wants everyone to like them, so they become a social butterfly to try and fit in with as many groups as they can. Now the issue with this is that you tend to then overstretch yourself and you end up going to places where you don't really want to go and hanging out with people that you don't really want to be around because they don't nourish your emotional well-being. Eventually you get the feeling that you don't belong anywhere, and then you start alienating yourself, you start feeling lonely, even when you're in company, and you become fickle, bitter, inauthentic and hostile. Now these are not qualities that help you to connect with people. They're more likely to push them away. And the function of the everyman is to connect with people, because without connections you feel sad, insignificant and anxious. The everyman also has limiting beliefs that make you avoid situations that you find comfortable. Now, when somebody does upset you, you then either alienate yourself and you hold a grudge against them and may even seek revenge. Again, these are learned behaviours that become habitual ways of being. They are memories of the past. Stored memories determine how you respond to situations you encounter in life. So to sum up, archetypal patterns determine your personality and influence how you experience life. They determine how you respond to specific situations. And when you've got an emotional wound, it tends to be that response is immature or maladaptive. The coping strategies no longer work. Now, when you can identify which part of your personality is undeveloped, it's easier then to integrate the qualities of the archetype and transform your life. But as the great Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung wrote, the archetypes have their own initiative and their own specific energy. These powers enable them both to produce a meaningful interpretation in their own symbolic style and to interfere in a given situation with their own impulses and their own formations. We can perceive the specific energy of archetypes when we experience the peculiar fascination that accompanies them. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, then please check out part 3, where I will explain how to use the Mastermind Content Archetypes model to transform your life and fulfill your potential. And if you want to know even more about how to use archetypes, then why not join me for weekly meetups on Zoom? For just £45 a month, you can get access to the Archetypes tool together with additional mindset tools for each archetype, plus an overview of the archetypes sent directly to your inbox, plus insightful content each week that can help you reach self-awareness and transform your life. But the biggest benefit is the weekly meetups, which give you the opportunity to share your experiences and wisdom. You can tell us what you learned so that the rest of the group learn as well, because your knowledge can help others and the knowledge of other people can help you. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So my goal is for us to share these stories and experience, to discuss what we learn and provide advice for everyone who asks for it. So don't be shy to share a challenge if you're facing one, because there'll be somebody in the group that can offer advice that helps you get over that hurdle. Because look, together we're stronger. And with a community that is dedicated to personal growth, success and transformation, I believe more of us will grow faster and easier. So sign up today by clicking the link in the description and head over to the Mastermind Content website. Alternatively, send me a DM to arrange a free 30-minute discovery, which will leave you feeling energized and optimistic. I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Richard Oldale and this is Mastermind Content. Bye-bye.